Good day everyone. In this video, we are going to talk about quantifying results from rubrics. So how do we actually quantify results from rubrics? In the creation of rubrics, there are scales that represent the degree of performance. So we have here the scale of 1 to 3, 1 to 4, and 1 to 5. For the scale of 1 to 3, we have minimal, partial, and complete with their corresponding points. For the scale of 1 to 4, we have beginner, moving toward proficiency, proficient, and very proficient with their corresponding points, and never, seldom, occasionally, frequently, and always with their corresponding points for the 5 scales. So this table shows a 5 demonstration with 3 raters using the scale of 4. First, we get the sum of ratings. We have 11, 8, 11, 8, and 4. And we get the mean or the X-bar ratings, which is equals to 8.4. And the D from subtracting 8.4 from the sum of ratings. And D squared by squaring the D. First, we get the sum of ratings from the 5 demonstrations. We have 11, 8, 11, 8, and 4, and we get the mean X bar, which is equals to 8.4, and subtract it from the sum of ratings, and we get the D, the difference. And the squared difference is by squaring the D, and we have here the summation of the squared difference, which is equals to 33.2. Then the mean and the summation of square differences will be substituted in the Kendall's W formula. So in the formula, M is the number of raters. So we have W is equals to 12 times the summation of squared differences divided by the number of raters times N times the quantity of N squared minus 1. Then we substitute the values, so we can have W is equals to 12 times 33.2 divided by 3 times 5 times the quantity of 5 squared minus 1. So by computing it, we will have a W is equals to 0.37. Kendall's W actually is an estimation as to what degree the 3 raters in the 5 demonstration agreed. So since the coefficient is far from 1.00, then there is only a moderate concordance among the 3 raters. So next, we have how to quantify results from scales and checklists. So scales could be a measure of non-cognitive dimensions of students' behavior. First, we have the Likert scale. So the Likert scale is used to measure the student's favorability and unfavorability toward a certain object. For example, we have the policeman is helpful in the street. So we have here a 4 Likert scale with strongly agree, agree, disagree, and strongly disagree. So usually we use higher number to represent positive responses and lower numbers to represent negative responses. So we have here also the current president of the country implemented the policy well. So we have strongly agree, agree, disagree, and strongly disagree. Next is the verbal frequency scale. This is used to measure how often a habit is done. For example, I read a book. So we have here a 5 scale rating. We have always, often, sometimes, rarely, and never. So the same with the Likert scale. Usually higher numbers represents positive responses and lower numbers represent negative responses. So we have also here, I wash my hands before eating with the same scale. Always, often, sometimes, rarely, and never. Next, we have linear numeric scale. So this is used when the large area of rating is provided among the participants within a continuum. For example, Rate the following personnel in your school on how valuable each one is to your learning. Use the scale below and write the corresponding number for your answer. So I have here the scale less valuable for 1 and more valuable for the highest rating, which is 9. So we have here the teacher, academic coordinator, guidance counselor, assistant principal, and the principal. So you are going to choose your rating from less valuable to more valuable. And we have semantic differential scale. This scale is used to describe the object or behavior by making use of two opposite objectives. For example, rate the teaching of your teacher based on the characteristics provided. So my teacher is, so we have 1 and 2. For 1, accommodating with 5 as the highest positive response, and alienating with 1 and a negative response. We have patient as 5, the same with number 1. 5 being the highest positive response and 1 being the lowest negative response, which is harsh. Scale. This scale uses illustration to represent the degree of presence or absence of the characteristics being measured. For example, rate how you like the following food. So pizza. We have here the smiley, a little bit happy and neutral, I guess. A little bit sad and sad. So we have here spaghetti, hamburger. So it actually uses an image or an emoji. Next, we have how do we quantify results from portfolio. So assessment data generated from portfolio can both be quantitative and qualitative. Qualitative assessment requires criteria and narrative feedback provided to the learner. So here are the list of the criteria that you can use when assessing portfolios. So we have completeness of the entry. Are all the parts of the portfolio listed by the teacher present? Next, accuracy of the reflection. So an authentic reflection is made for every entry in the portfolio. The reflection provides the insight on the realization of the learner about his or her weaknesses and improvement that needs to be done. Number 3, organization of content and proper sequence. So the portfolio is classified according to the lessons and the entries are with labels. How do we summarize results? When results of assessment are summarized, the teacher needs to think of 2 things. Number 1, the kind of score that will be presented. The teacher may require to have the raw score, percentage, or a transmuted grade. The average and the summation of scores may be required depending on the grading system. So number 2, the tabular or graphical presentation of the scores. So the scores can be presented in a tabular or graphical manner. I guess this is the end of my video and I hope you learned something.